Welcome to Fighting Stats, the ultimate channel for MMA fans who love statistics and betting breakdowns. I'm your host, Art C, and I'm here to get you ready for the upcoming UFC fights. In this series, I'll be watching tape and providing my real time analysis on how I think the fights are going to go. I'll be watching for fighters' strengths, weaknesses, tendencies, and overall strategies, pairing that with Fighting Stats' exclusive UFC stats not available anywhere else to give you a prediction on how I think the fights are going to go and ultimately who's going to win. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Fighting Stats. Welcome back to Fighting Stats. You are in for a treat today. We are breaking down the UFC 300 main event between Alex Poaton Pereira taking on Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill. This is for the light heavyweight championship fight of the world. We're going to go deep into the stats first. We're going to tell you what the numbers say. We've watched all the tape on Jamal Hill. We've watched all the tape on Alex Pereira. I'll give you my prediction on how I think the fight is going to go and eventually who is going to win. I'll give you my best bets. I'll try to give up the prop numbers in terms of where I think the lines are going to go, and that will tell us where the best bet is going to be and how much money to put on each bet. So let's get right into the breakdown. Let's get this started. So right away with our fighting stats here, we're going to put Alex Pereira here in the blue side. Jamal Hill is going to be on the right side. Very similar numbers. Look at this. Both fighters 6-1 in the UFC. Both fighters, 67% of their wins by KO, 33% of their wins by decision. Both fighters, one loss by TKO. So worth noting. They gave, Jamal Hill, that one was a TKO. They called it because of the arm was flopping around against Paul Craig. Mostly a submission. The submission would have been submitted there, got his arm broken there. So we're going to start here with Alex Pereira on the blue side. Mostly going to be a distance striker. 82% of his strikes coming from a distance. 14% of them going to be in the clinch and only 4% on the ground. Mostly a kickboxer there. In terms of his target breakdown, pretty distributed here. 58%, I believe 55% towards the head, 25% towards the body, and 21% towards the legs. So decent striking breakdown there. Striking accuracy, 48%, very good head strike accuracy at 48%, 82% towards the body, 75% towards the legs. Now, if we look at the strike breakdown per round here, Alex Pereira throwing 29 strikes in round number 1, 40 strikes in round number 2, 42 strikes in round number 3. So the strikes thrown does go up. Strikes landed does go up as well. 17 in round 1, 24 in round 2, and 30 in round 3. In rounds 4 and 5, rounds 4 dips off at 29 thrown, and then it comes back up a little bit in round number 5. Alex Pereira does have 3 knockdowns, one of them coming in round number 1, 2 of them coming in round number 2. And then the striking distribution obviously head strikes going up as well, but you can see the leg strikes sort of falling off as the fight goes on later on. So we talked about the 3 knockdowns. Overall, his significant strike accuracy at 61%. Look at these leg kick numbers. He is a big leg kicker. Again, he is a kickboxer by trade. So big leg kick numbers, 130 leg kicks thrown in his UFC career. 90 of them have been successful. Not a big ground guy. He was on the ground there. He did land a couple of ground strikes against Yuri in round 2. So moving on to defensive striking for Alex Pereira, 88% of his strikes absorbed have been at a distance, 8% in the clinch and 4% on the ground, somewhat similar to his offensive striking. 75% of his shots towards his head, 14% towards the body, 10% towards the leg. Defensive striking, 37% head defensive strike, 58% towards the body, and 88% towards the legs. In terms of strikes absorbed by round, it does fluctuate. 14 strikes absorbed in round number 1, goes up to 23 in round number 2, drops to 15 in round 3, up to 20 in round number 4, and down to 15 again in round number 5. He has been knocked down only once. That's coming in round number 2 there. That was against Israel Adesanya in the second time they fought. yeah, has seen some big leg kicks, fought some Bruno Silva, ate some leg kicks there. Let's see, ground strikes there, not a big deal. Overall, significant strike defense, 45%. So let's move on to the Jamal Hill offensive striking. Same sort of thing where he's going to be a distance striker. He's going to be in southpaw most of the time, so keep that in mind. 9% of his strikes are going to be in the clinch. 10% of his strikes are going to be on the ground. In terms of target breakdown, more a headhunter, 80% of his strikes towards the head, 16 towards the body, and only 4% to the legs. Not a huge leg kicker, and we'll get into that shortly. In terms of accuracy, 45% head strike accuracy, so similar numbers to Alex Pereira, 82 towards the body, 91% towards the legs. And then his average strikes thrown by round does go, you can see the big M here, 36 thrown in round number 1, 85 in round number 2, drops down to 48 in round 3, 90 strikes in round number 4, and drops off to 24 in round number 5. So maybe a case of taking a couple of rounds off, but it is a lower sample size. He only went to rounds 4 and 5. Once with round 5 once against Glover Teixeira, round 4 twice, so that's against Thiago Santos. Both of those rounds 4 and 5, the opponent pretty gassed there, but over his UFC career, has four knockdowns. Overall significant strike accuracy at 49%. Again, not a huge leg kicker. We talked about that. He did go throw 6 leg kicks in round number 1, 4 in round number 2 against Glover. Not much against Thiago Santos. Threw against 9 against Thiago Santos. Not a big part of his game, though. Let's go over to the defensive striking for Jamal Hill. 81% of his strikes have come from a distance, 12% from the ground, and 7% in the clinch. Head strikes, 72% of these strikes absorbed are towards the head, 16% towards the body, and 12% towards the legs. Defensive striking, 39% head strike defense, 81% towards the body, 91% defense towards the legs. Not great, meaning 91% of the leg kicks thrown towards him land. I didn't see many leg kicks checked by Jamal Hill, so worth noting. Average strikes absorbed by round, 13 to 15 in round number 2, 12 in round number 3, 19 in round number 4, 7 in round number 5. So pretty standard strikes absorbed. Has not been knocked down in his UFC career, so worth noting that as well. Again, his one loss coming from Paul Craig getting armbarred there. So let's go into grappling. From the fight tape, I don't think that there's going to be a lot of grappling in this fight, but we'll go over the numbers, see what the numbers say, see if they sort of agree with that. So let's start with Alex Pereira, the offensive grappling. He's really only attempted 1 takedown in the UFC. One of them had been successful. That was round 2 against Israel Adesanya. I believe that was at the end of the round with like 10 seconds left, 20 seconds left. Sort of more of a surprise. He got Israel down. So I don't think Alex Pereira is going to shoot for any takedowns here, so we won't look into that. Let's go into the Jamal Hill side as well. Jamal Hill, 0 attempts, 0 successful. So between the two guys, 12 fights between them, only 1 takedown, 20 seconds of control time. I don't think this is going to be any grappling, so I'm not going to go spending too much time into the grappling report. Let's get right into how I think the fight is going to go. Again, we talked about the fight not being grappling wise, so it's probably going to take place on the feet. We did talk about Jamal Hill being mostly a southpaw fighter. Alex Pereira is going to be an orthodox. So I'm going to keep with that theme and sort of break it down in terms of what I saw. So for the majority of Jamal Hill, we've seen him fight southpaw. Only recently, when he fought Glover Teixeira in that last fight, did he switch to orthodox. I believe it's something to do with the tape from the Glover Teixeira tape. Anytime Jamal Hill switched to southpaw, Glover Teixeira right away shot in for that lead right leg. Wasn't able to get the takedown in round number 1, but did get one in round number 2. But I believe Jamal Hill will want to stand southpaw. Alex Pereira almost exclusively stands orthodox. So it is big difference. The thing that we know with Alex Pereira from the fight tape, he has a big left hook. Everybody knows Alex Pereira's left hook. In the earlier rounds, I found that Alex Pereira threw a lot of single strikes, a lot of popping jabs from the outside, a lot of outside low kicks from Alex Pereira. Again, he's a kickboxer that has nasty low kicks. He will stand his ground, but he won't bring the fight to you. So against Israel Adesanya, who wants to sort of stand on the outside, sort of wait and stuff, that's why the fight went a little bit longer. As soon as you come in and you sort of bring the fight to him, then he'll plant his feet, he'll start throwing some power shots, and you could land sort of thing. So in this fight, I think the pace of the fight will come down to Jamal Hill and how he approaches this fight. Jamal Hill has a history of sort of walking his opponents down. He did that against Glover Teixeira. He's done that a couple of times against other opponents too, where he walks his opponents down, has his opponents sort of backing up. And if he does that, then you're going to look for some counters from Alex Pereira, that left hook, all that things like that. So let's start with Alex Pereira again. We talked about the left hook. We talked about the single jabs. I think the leg kicks is a big deal. Again, I did mention that I did not see Jamal Hill check any of the low kicks. So if it's going to be southpaw for Jamal Hill, it's going to be orthodox for Alex Pereira. It's going to be a little bit harder because Alex Pereira likes to throw the outside, the right low kick. Against the southpaw, it's a little bit easier to check because that inside leg, it's just a little bit of a turn of the knee to be able to check that low kick. So it might be Alex Pereira having to go outside lead, outside low kick to land, or he still might throw the inside low kick, but we'll see if Alex Pereira switches up. Sometimes with southpaw to orthodox, they don't throw the leg kick, but they do go to the body kick. So we'll see if Alex Pereira starts to throw the body kick. We have seen Jamal Hill against an orthodox fighter. He will throw the left high kick a lot, so keep that in mind. A head kick is live for Jamal Hill. He threw it a bunch of times against Glover Teixeira. Glover Teixeira is still trying to block it, but even, when you block it, you still start to get hit with it. He rocked Glover Teixeira a couple of times with that left high kick. So look for Jamal Hill to throw that high kick. Again, because Pereira or Jamal Hill aren't going to be looking for getting the fight down to the ground. Sometimes against a grappler, you sort of are hesitant in throwing these body kicks or head kicks because you're afraid that they might get caught and taken down. Because I don't suspect either guy wants to go down to the ground, I think the kicks come a little bit more fluidly, more frequently, especially in the earlier rounds. We've seen a lot of kicks early from the Pereira side as well. So again, I talked about the Jamal Hill not checking leg kicks. If you go back and watch our fight study on Jamal Hill, one of the biggest things and biggest concerns for me I saw was the entry for Jamal Hill. He likes to throw the left straight. He goes to the left straight a lot through the body as well. But when he is throwing that left straight, that right arm comes really down. It's down on his hip there. I do think he's counterable. I think Glover Teixeira landed a bunch of left hooks on Jamal Hill. Again, Glover Teixeira is like 78 years old, so not surprising he didn't get knocked out there. But you could see Jamal Hill's right eye from the left hook getting messed up there because Glover Teixeira landed that left hook a bunch of times. I'll be honest, I went through the fight tape with Jamal Hill. I didn't see a lot of, devastating strikers, anybody to really worry about. I will go into it a little bit briefly afterwards after I break this down, but the strength of competition for Jamal Hill, I'm going to say is not the greatest. For Alex Pereira, I think he's fought the best of the best. Bruno Silva, a striker. Sean Strickland, a striker. Israel Adesanya, Fano Tice, John Blachowicz, Yuri Prohaska. These are all high-level strikers. Whereas on the Jamal Hill side, Glover Teixeira, 87 years old. Thiago Santos, we talked about it, has lost 7 of his last 8 fights. Jimmy Crute, on the tail end of his career, getting knocked out every fight. Paul Craig, he lost to. Ovince St. Preux has 1 round of cardio, and Darker Solstice. So not the strength of competition, I have to lean the Alex Pereira side. And again, I think Jamal Hill's been bailed out by the level of competition, really not able to capitalize on his errors. If you take a look at the Jimmy Crute fight, both of them landing right hands at the same time. Just Jimmy Crute not really of a chin. Same thing with the Johnny Walker was the guy. They both threw strikes. Just Johnny Walker's chin's pretty much out the door. Anytime he gets touched, he gets wobbled and rocked. So not surprising that Johnny Walker gets out, but Jamal Hill's taken some big shots. I do think his chin is okay because he has eaten some shots, but that's the thing. He does eat some shots. Again, we talked about the defensive striking, 39% of head strikes eating. And again, it's that right hand, and it doesn't show up on the stats, but it's the left hook that's open all the time for Alex Pereira. We know how much he likes to throw that left hook, so I think that's going to be a weapon for Alex Pereira, is the left hook. I think the outside low kick is going to be a weapon for Alex Pereira as well. Again, I think in the clinch it probably favors Alex Pereira. I think what Jamal Hill does well is that he has a decent jab, decent right jab from southpaw. He has a very nice left straight. Is it something that Alex Pereira hasn't seen before? No, I don't think. I don't think Jamal Hill is levels above anybody that Alex Pereira hasn't seen before. I have seen an interview from Jamal Hill, I think with Mighty Mouse, talking about, okay, Mighty Mouse says, okay, so you're gonna take him down, you're gonna take him where he's probably the weakest, and you're gonna grind him out there. And Jamal Hill's like, no, I'm gonna just stand and trade with him. Obviously, it's fight talk, and they say that stuff all the time, but I believe him. I don't think Jamal Hill, again, he's never attempted a takedown. He could have attempted takedown in other fights. He's content to stand and trade with him. So with that being said, if it turns out to be a stand-up fight, there are a couple of X factors here as well. So Jamal Hill injures his shoulder, he dislocates it or something, whatever. He needed surgery. I think that happened in July of 2023. He was supposed to come back and fight at UFC 301, I think it was. They were even talking about pushing his return earlier. You talked about the UFC 300 announcement. They go ahead and announce it right after the Volkanovski fight. They catch up to Jamal Hill. They say, Jamal Hill, when did you find out about the UFC announcement? He's like, yesterday. They basically told him yesterday. I think it got to desperation mode for the UFC, desperately trying to fill the UFC 300 main event going. I think Aspinall was in the discussion. They wanted Alex Pereira to fight, trying to find anybody for him. They talked about Leon Edwards, giving him 3 fights for Leon Edwards. All 3 of those fighters in Ramadan, not able to fight. So they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel for options. I think the Alex Pereira, again, they talked about Tom Aspinall. He didn't want to do that fight. And then the only one that really made sense was maybe like Israel Adesanya if he came back, but maybe he didn't want to come back. And then just trying to get Jamal Hill in there. So to me, it sounded like they rushed Jamal Hill a little bit back too early. I know a lot of people saying, okay, yeah, he was going to headline 301. His recovery is fine. He got cleared by the doctor. I've seen some pictures of Jamal Hill on social media. He looks pretty big. I don't think he was training that often. I don't think he was training that hard. He's going to have a rough 8 weeks. I think it's 8 weeks out from March, April. Yeah, so we're less than probably 7 weeks out right now. He's going to have to cut that weight. I'm just questioning how he looks coming off the surgery. I think he's a little bit out of shape right now. Again, he's going to go into camp, so that's probably not an issue, but for me, it was already Jamal Hill was slowing down in the later rounds already. We saw it in the Thiago Santos fight. We saw it in the Glover Teixeira fight. Even in the Ovince St. Preux gassed out early in round number 2. Jamal Hill ended up finishing him there. But anytime we've seen Jamal Hill go late, I have seen him sort of fall off. Cardio is the question. Not saying that Alex Pereira has great cardio, that he's going to take advantage of him, but just some of the intangibles that, maybe we're going for Jamal Hill. Now it's sort of a question mark. How does he look off of surgery? Is he really going to be in shape? Already coming into it without even looking at the question marks of the cardio, without the shoulder injury. For me, on the fight tape, it was the susceptibility to getting leg kicked. He got leg kicked all the time before the injury. And he kept on dropping that right hand, and he was open to the left hook all the time before the injury. Pair that with the shorter notice. Pair that with the coming off of surgery, all that stuff. I'm going to favor Alex Pereira in this fight. I think Alex Pereira is going to have more ways to win. For Jamal Hill, and just hear me out. For Jamal Hill to win, I think he's going to have to land a big shot and maybe knock out Alex Pereira. It hasn't really been Jamal Hill, right? Jamal Hill went 5 rounds for Glover Teixeira. Couldn't finish him. Glover Teixeira, super durable. I get that, but he's super old. Wasn't able to finish Glover Teixeira. Wasn't able to really finish Thiago Santos until Thiago Santos completely fell off a cliff. Finished Johnny Walker, who gets knocked out with any kind of gust of wind. Same thing with Jamie Crute. Doesn't really have a chin there as well. Paul Craig, he got finished, and then Ovince St. Preux gassed out in round 2. So I'm not going to say Jamal Hill is overrated. I'm going to say that his strength of schedule has been very favorable for him. He's been able to finish a lot of these guys on paper that he should have finished. And then he's gone late and he's finished some of these guys that had some cardio issues there. So for Jamal Hill to come out fresh and just knock out Alex Pereira when guys like Israel Adesanya wasn't able to do it, Bruno Silva, Sean Strickland, Jan Blachowicz, Yuri Prohaska, these guys all hit hard and were not able to knock out Alex Pereira. So for me, I know a lot of people are very high on Jamal Hill. I just don't see it. I get it. He has a couple of nice hands, nice straights and stuff. But Alex Pereira has been kickboxing forever, so I tend to take I tend to take grapplers against Alex Pereira, but knowing that Jamal Hill probably doesn't shoot a takedown, probably wants to keep the fight standing, I'm going to favor the kickboxer, the striker, the heavier hands, the more leg kicks. Alex Pereira has more ways to win. I think he could win late. If it goes late, I think he could find the finish early. We haven't seen Jamal Hill get rocked at all, so I don't know. Maybe he can take a big punch and maybe it goes the distance, all that stuff. But just everything I've seen, I don't really see a huge advantage for Jamal Hill, if I'm being honest. And so I think Alex Pereira probably wins this fight. Let's get into the numbers here, and then I'll break you down the numbers, see where I see the fight going. Pulled up my handy dandy tracker here. What I like to do is I like to assign a percentage to each possible outcomes of the fight. It helps me determine where the value bets are. It helps me determine the side, and I also use Kelly Criterion to help me determine how much of my bankroll I'm going to be putting on each side of the fight. So we've put Alex Pereira here on the blue side. Jamal Hill is going to be on that red side. We're going to go down each number and try to assign a value to it. So starting out with Alex Pereira to win by TKO. I'm going to say that's his most likely path to victory. Again, I think from the leg kicks that could slow Jamal Hill down. I think from the left hook that puts him to sleep at any time. I think Alex Pereira could win by knockout at any time. I'm going to start 35% and go from there. I think 35% is probably pretty safe. Win by submission. I'm going to say it's probably close to 0. I'm going to probably put 0 for argument's sake. I do know that Alex Pereira does have a nasty front guillotine. If Jamal Hill maybe is beat up from the front leg and then maybe he tries to shoot a desperation takedown, he gets his neck caught in there. Again, Jamal Hill's not really a grappler, so I wouldn't be surprised if Jamal Hill doesn't do the right thing, doesn't have the right takedowns, doesn't have the nicest entries, things like that, or he's completely compromised that it's pretty much telegraphed. Alex Pereira can sprawl and lock in the guillotine. So I think Alex Pereira submission, if it does come, is probably from guillotine. I don't see Alex Pereira searching for the takedown either. So it's probably closer to 0% than it is really 5%. I'll leave it at 0%, but knowing, it's possible. The other thing to keep in mind, Alex Pereira is best friends with Glover Teixeira. Glover Teixeira, the last one that fought Jamal Hill. Glover Teixeira did have some success on the ground, but was not able to find the submission on Jamal Hill, even though he was gassed. Even Jamal Hill in round 5 was able to pop back up. So again, I don't think it's necessarily pretty likely for Alex Pereira to get that submission, so we'll leave it at 0%. Alex Pereira to win by decision, I think it's possible. I think if it comes, it's going to be from outlanding, maybe more damage, outside low kicks, things like that. It's probably 50-50 if it goes to decision. We're going to put 15%. I'm probably going to be short on this side. We're coming back, but we'll put 15% to start because I don't think it's probably much more than that. Jamal Hill to win by TKO. If Alex Pereira is 35%, it's going to be lower than 35% in my mind. Jamal Hill, I don't know. Alex Pereira's fought some decent strikers. Nobody's really been able to finish him. 20% seems disrespectful. 25% probably more accurate. So we'll leave that 25%, 1 in 4 chances, 5-round fight as well. So Jamal Hill to win by submission. I think, again, it's going to be close to 0, but I think it's possible based on the game plan of Jamal Hill. If he goes out there and says, like Mighty Mouse, so everybody knows Alex Pereira is not great on the ground, so you're going to take him down, try to control him, things like that. People have tried to, right? And so I don't see it. I mean, you could put 5% for sub. I'm going to leave it at 0%. I just don't think it happens. So we'll leave it from there. So Jamal Hill to win by decision. That one I'll say I'll leave at 15% as well with the Alex Pereira. So now we're short 10% here. So I do have to assign 10% more. Alex Pereira 40%. I don't know if it's that high. 35% for Alex Pereira seems okay. 40% seems a little bit high if I'm being honest. We haven't seen Jamal Hill really get rocked. I just don't know where to put it. I don't think it's going to be decision. I don't think it's going to be Jamal Hill. I'm stuck here, 10%. So even if I raise this 30%, I don't think it's right 1 in 3. We'll give Jamal Hill. Okay, maybe if we raise them up here. Okay, so we'll do. That's probably about right there. I can leave Alex Pereira at 40% KO. See, I'm struggling here. I think, I'll be honest, when I see this Alex Pereira TKO at 40%, I think it's a little bit high. I'll be honest. I do favor that side. I think 35% is probably about right. If I just dump it in sub, I don't think that's right either, but take this back down to 25%. Let's put subs at 2.5, or yeah, that's okay. So 3% for Jamal Hill, 2% for Alex Pereira. Does Alex Pereira have more chances of winning a decision than Jamal Hill? I don't think so. I think if you give Pereira 15%, you got to give Hill 15%. Okay, that works. We'll try that. Okay. You guys tell me. Alex Pereira to win by TKO, I have at 40%. That's like 1 in every 2.5 fights. Alex, again, it's a 5-round fight. Jamal Hill tends to slow down. I think it's about 45 to 35%. Sounds right to me. Alex Pereira to win by submission. I said it's not 0. I gave it 2%. I divided 5% between Hill and Pereira. And then Alex Pereira to win by decision, 15%. We haven't seen either guy get super rocked. Well, we say go to. It really depends on how Jamal Hill approaches this fight, but 15% for Alex Pereira for a total money line of 57% or a line of 133 or better. On Jamal Hill's side, win by TKO 25% plus 300 or better. Win by submission 3%, not even talking about that. And win by decision plus 15% or plus 567 or better for a total money line of 43%, plus 133 or better. For me, that sounds about right. If we think about does not go to decision at 70% minus 233, the line's probably going to be a lot higher than that. Goes to decision plus 233, 30% there. Yeah, for me, again, I lean the Alex Pereira side, and I lean it quite a bit. I think at least 60-40, so I'm trying to get to the numbers in terms of what it makes sense. I think they're going to line Alex Pereira KO probably around, plus 100, probably won't be playable, but that's probably where it belongs. But yeah, I think Alex Pereira is going to be the side for me. I know a lot of people are going to take the Jamal Hill at plus money. I get it. It's just not me. Not what I've seen on tape, based on a level of competition, based off of the cardio concerns, based off of coming off of surgery, based on short notice. All of these things sort of favor Alex Pereira for me. So that's going to be my prediction. That's how I think the fight's going to go. Leave me your comment below how you think the fight's going to go. I know this is a long-winded breakdown, but I try to give you all of the information that I have, break down what we saw there, and try to get you a best bet. But again, my name is Art C. This is Fighting Stats. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching. All right, guys. Well, that is it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this type of content, make sure you smash the like button, hit the subscribe. You'll get notified anytime we put out new content. Listen to this. We just hit a massive parlay for $29,000 at UFC 297. That is one UFC after 296 where we hit a parlay for $82,000. That's back-to-back parlays. We've made $110,000. And how do we do it? We use our exclusive fighting stats, not available anywhere else. Our exclusive fighting stats gives us information, gives us a big edge over the sportsbooks, and tell us what's going to happen within the fights. We post all that information, our breakdowns, our best bets, over at patreon.com/fightingstats. Don't miss out. Make sure you subscribe today. Again, my name is Art C. This is Fighting Stats. Thanks for watching.